quick and loud live right now because we have to talk about the biggest news yet in the 40 something days since the threats against Iran. Yeah, they can see you guys they can see you guys back there. So, all right, we give up. But listen, the biggest news yet in the rumors of war, the war and rumors of war between the U.S. and Iran, the U.S. attack on Iran, the threats, etc., has just blown up the headlines today. I've been getting nonstop messages, total panic, not just from people overseas, but actually people here also who think that perhaps we just got a little bit closer to an American attack on Iran. Okay, so why is that? At some point this morning, and mind you, this is Friday, so this is like, if you live in the West, this is like your Saturday. Like the weekend has begun and people are panic shopping right now. Everybody was out in the morning and then suddenly the news comes out and of course reported as the US is evacuating all non-essential workers from from Israel to the U.S. embassy. The U.S. embassy. Let's just read it. You know what? Let's just go to it because. All right. So, but those were the headline. The headline was they're evacuating the non-essential workers. So everybody panics. But let's read it. Let us read it together. The Department of State on February 27, 2026, the Department of State authorized the departure of non-emergency U.S. government personnel and family members of U.S. government personnel from Mission Israel due to safety risks. In response to security incidents and without advance notice, the U.S. Embassy may further restrict or prohibit U.S. government employees and their families from traveling to certain areas of Israel, the Old City of Jerusalem, and the West Bank. Persons may wish to consider leaving Israel while commercial flights are available. Let's read the full message here. Here it is on the website. By the way, this thing about not going to the old city and stuff like that, that happens a lot. But again, let's look at the key words here. Authorized departure. The authorized departure, that sounds to me like it's optional. Okay, so now let me see. I'm going to, oh, you guys couldn't see the click when I clicked on that. How bizarre is this thing? Okay. All right, let's replace it. Let's go to the article here in the Times of Israel. Okay, so here we are. Okay, again, now here's the headline. U.S. ambassador tells embassy staffers, if you want to leave Israel, do so today. All right, so let's see what he says exactly. So the U.S. State Department on Friday authorized non-emergency personnel and the family members of those stationed in Israel to leave the country due to safety risks. With U.S. Ambassador Mike Huckabee reportedly telling the staff that if they want to leave Israel, they should do so today. Now, today is kind of a tall order. Could you imagine? Like I said, this is like the day. This is leading up to Shabbat. Everybody's out there shopping. It's the beginning of the weekend. It's like panic time before everything closes. The trains, the buses stop at like around 3:00 in the afternoon or so. I mean, and then also El Al, the national airline here, doesn't fly on Shabbat. So I don't know how this happens. Anyway, all right. So the embassy called for non-emergency staff to depart. Is it a call to depart or is it we authorize them? What does it say? What is the exact wording? They said authorized. I'm going back to this thing here. Authorized the departure. Okay, so it seems like, I mean, to me, it's like they okayed it. They didn't order the departure. Then he says, okay, so let's go back to what Huckabee says here. Focus on getting a seat to any place from which you then can. So it doesn't matter. Don't try to get to the U.S. Just try to get out of the country. There is no need to panic. But for those desiring to leave, it is important to make plans to depart sooner rather than later. The current embassy travel advisory includes this Friday security alert, and also, including this Friday security, also advises all Americans to reconsider travel to Israel due to terrorism and civil unrest. Okay, so the alert and Huckabee's warning were the latest indication of a possible American strike on Iran and came as airlines have canceled flights to the region and issued warnings for citizens to evacuate. Okay, they've ordered, the countries have ordered for their citizens to evacuate from Iran, not from Israel. France just came out with a statement sometime today saying that they should that they put a travel advisory on coming to Israel as well. But there is no call for Americans in general to leave Israel. In fact, I don't know that any country has said that you must leave Israel right now. So we're still sitting here waiting. Now, what I heard, of course, this occupied the news like crazy. This was the big headline all day long. I've got people messaging, "Oh, should we leave now? What should we do? What's happening?" And then I put on the news because I want to see what's happening. It's really funny because the anchor, she said, "Here we're going to try to not give you the facts, but we're going to give you a lot of opinion and analysis." And I laugh so hard because it's true, because nobody knows the facts. Nobody knows what is going to happen. And in fact, as the first analyst pointed out, this is not a call for all Americans to evacuate. Like, all Americans should evacuate Iran, all Canadians, all Chinese, the Chinese, China said all of our citizens should get out of Iran immediately. But nobody has said, this statement from the U.S. Embassy was not for Americans to evacuate immediately. It was authorization. Now, we heard this from somebody who works at the U.S. Embassy. There are a lot of locals that work at the embassy. They're not American citizens. They're, they live here. They're residents here, and they work at the U.S. Embassy. And they have known about this for a while now, that they're non-essential workers or non-emergency workers were told already in the last week that they could go. They could leave the country. So that has been going on. So in some ways, I'm not sure how, whether or not this goes up, takes it up a notch in the imminence of an attack. I do not know. I like to keep things as balanced as possible without causing fear and panic. And I think that these headlines today caused a real flurry of fear and panic for a lot of people. But when you really look at it, you think, okay, well, maybe it's not actually as serious, maybe, or as imminent. No, it's all very serious, but maybe it's not as imminent. So the first thing, when this came out, people were saying, "Oh, we're not going to make it through the weekend." And of course, stocking up. One of my kids said that he overheard somebody at the supermarket, a mother, tell her son, "Go buy as many snacks as you want because we're going to have a war." And so the kid went and bought snacks. But anyway, so now all of that being said, whether I think the issue is, it's becoming not a matter of if, but a matter of when. So of course we are still dealing with the imminence, like whether the imminence is imminent, or if it's media imminent, which could be like 47 days. So now they're harping on 47, the number 47. I saw somewhere somebody wrote, in 3 days from now, it will have been 47 days since the threat from the 47th president of America against the regime in Iran. And it is in the year of the 47th year of the revolution. So they liked the number 47. Now, where does 3 days from now bring us? It brings us to Purim. And let's address that, because Purim is the Jewish holiday that began, if you read the book of Esther, when the Jews were exiled to Persia. and somehow, when they were choosing a new queen, somehow Esther, who was a Jew, got chosen to be the queen of Persia, and ended up, through that, saving the nation, and of course, from a death threat, from a potential genocide. And go read Esther actually for the weekend. It would be really interesting to see. So now people are saying, like, oh, here it is again, the Jewish people versus the Iranians. Of course, America wasn't back there in Esther, but America's the one engineering this whole, threat and the military action. But this is what happened on Purim, or this is what Purim was about, was the salvation of the Jewish people. But of course, so all of the spiritualists are trying to connect the timing of the attack to Purim, which I think is like Monday. It's very hard for me to tell what the exact date is, because if you have kids in the schools here, the events associated with Purim are like an entire week plus. That now it's even more. Like when my kids were in kindergarten, it was a week and I was already overwhelmed. But now I feel like it's like a week and a half. It's like 10 days worth of activities and sending different costumes on a daily basis and gifts and all that. Anyway, just like, yeah. So I'm not really sure. I'm not sure exactly which day is Purim in the end, because I just know it's nebulously sometime next week. Might be Monday, and it's somewhere between Monday through Wednesday, because I think those are the days that my kids have off from school. But I'm also not sure about that, and I have to check because every school has a different schedule, of course, right? So anyway, so there is Purim if you want to get on the spiritual bandwagon of panic. So we could have, World War III break out then. But the other indicators are that the U.S. military in the region the presence has just skyrocketed over the last couple of weeks. But even specifically in the last few days, there are many U.S. Air Force jets that have gone from, I saw them, they were in Crete for a while at 2 different airports in Crete. We love Crete. We go there as a family. We've been there. How many times we've been to Crete, Lucas? I say, you guys see him in the background. How many times we've been to Crete?
5.
5?
You've been there 6.
No, I've been there long.
We've been there like 10.
Well, I've been there 5.
You've been there 5. Okay, so we've been to Crete 5 times. Crete's about 1.5 hour flight from here, from Tel Aviv. And then there's apparently two airports. We always fly into Heraklion, but there's another airport in Chania. I don't know how to say it actually. Wow, I never actually tried to say it's some other beautiful city that we need to go visit sometime. But so the jets are there. They were there. They were, I guess on their way in. And I had seen videos that said, wow, it looks like the airport in Crete looks like a U.S. Air Force base. And now I heard that they're here at Ben Gurion right outside Tel Aviv. And I saw a video of jets lined up. So they're getting closer. Now, also, the USS Gerald Ford, which is an aircraft carrier, I think it's the largest aircraft carrier in the world, or at least the largest American one, is also in the Mediterranean. It's here. Like, it's docked, I think, in Israel on its way. I don't know if it's staying here or if it's on its way to somewhere. I saw a number that there are 200 fighter jets in the area, and 300 U.S. Army cargo flights have been made. So it's a lot of equipment. And let's remember what Lindsey Graham said, the U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham, when he said they're not coming here. The U.S. military isn't coming here for the weather this time of year. Although, by the way, in the Gulf states, it's amazing, the weather right now. It's like you need to go in the spring or the winter, and not in the summer, unless you like 120 degrees. But anyway, it's supposed to be really beautiful there right now. I don't think they're here for the weather, though, beautiful or not beautiful. So there is a buildup in the region. There is a military buildup in the region for sure. Iran is getting also its military in order. They have, I think they've had some shipments from China and Russia. They have also tested some of their missiles like many times. There were some videos also of some naval action. So everybody's sort of getting their cards on the table right now, and we'll see where this all takes us. So all of that to say that I don't think we're looking at an attack this weekend. I also don't know if we really should seriously be looking at attack on Purim. I don't know that the military clock is going in that direction of the spiritual. Spiritual parallel. There must be again. Purim. This happened, and there's going to be another showdown on Purim. Not sure about that, but we could be looking at something a lot closer than we were. Was it 8 weeks ago? Well, it was January 8th, around January 8th, when President Trump first made the threats that if to the Iranian regime, if you start executing protesters or if you start killing protesters, we will intervene. Now, as for the protests in Iran, I don't know if they're still going on today, but as recently as 2 days ago, they had been going on for 4 days straight, many at universities. And so that is an indicator that the people there are still. Listen, I heard a debate yesterday, just not a debate, I mean a debate among friends who were talking about it, about what could happen. And it's interesting how what people think about whether or not there should be regime change and what's going to happen. And I know there are a lot of people who really want to see regime change in Iran, that even that they're for U.S. military action, and they want to see that happen. And then I heard some other people saying, well, who will replace the regime? Are we going to have another Syria on our hands? So they don't necessarily want to see it. Now, what I do hear is that many of the Iranian people do want to see their own regime changed. They want to get rid of the Ayatollah regime. And so anyway, it's like, who don't know which or if any of these opinions actually motivate or prompt the final decision, and whether it's Trump's decision or whether somebody else here in the region is going to jump the gun. Because one thing you can say is that everybody's finger is on the trigger in this region. Even because as I'm saying this, I'm just seeing right now that there is still there's in Lebanon that the Israeli military has been attacking more aggressively, at least according to what I can tell, more so aggressively in southern Lebanon against Hezbollah targets, because the question is whether or not Hezbollah will come to Iran's aid. Like if the U.S. goes and attacks Iran, then will Hezbollah say, okay, well, in response, we will attack Israel? I mean, the Houthis probably will, but they are about 2,000 kilometers away or so. But Hezbollah is right on the border. But I have seen several IDF attacks on Hezbollah targets in Lebanon over the last couple of days. So yet another indicator that things are heating up. And last but not least, there was something else I was going to say. In the meantime, if you have any questions or thoughts, I would love to know what do you guys think? We should, there's betting sites all over right now about when the attack's going to be. I just saw this recent one. I hope I can find it quickly. The betting site. They said, here it is. What is this betting site? I don't know what it is. Polymarket. That February 27th, which is today, 8%. But February 28th, 24%. March 1st goes up to 30. March 2nd, 33. And March 3rd, 37%. 37%. So we got March 3rd. Got a couple days.
When is Purim?
I don't know exactly, but it might be Monday. And isn't it like different dates in different cities? Very confusing.
Well, Jerusalem is different than the rest.
Right. Jerusalem is different for some because it's a walled city.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't ask me to explain that. But there's something to that. Like walled cities somehow have 2 days.
If Yeah.
I feel like there was something else I was going to say. I mean, not this, but by the way, it's Ramadan, and today there were 100,000 Muslims on the Temple Mount, on the Ad Al Aqsa, to
I
pray.
saw it was in the old city. There were like flocks of them.
Okay, yeah, this is during Ramadan. I mean, I'll do some lives from the old city. I did one last week. It was great. You just saw the convergence of everybody just getting through Jaffa Gate. Although my child called me, while I was in the middle of a live. There's also something going on between Pakistan and Afghanistan right now, and India was just here. The president or prime minister Modi
I think it's
of India was just here, and they had the pictures of him and Netanyahu was like they just had bro time, but they also had like something like 16 memoranda of understanding between the two countries, and there was like significant ties there being developed between India and Israel. Okay, so I feel like there was something else. It would probably
yeah, he's
not
prime minister.
prime minister. Thank you. Critical, be all and end all, but there was another tidbit that I was going to say, but
It was about you spoke about Ramadan. You should encourage people to watch your YouTube about Ramadan.
okay. Yes, I have a video from a couple years ago where I interviewed some Muslims about Ramadan, some Muslims in Jerusalem, how they observe it and what's involved. Anyway, Tony, you'll have to put the link in the chat because I can't get it right now. If you want to do that, thank you for the promotion, Tony. I appreciate that. Okay, so anyway, the fact that I cannot remember this. Oh, wait a second. Oh my gosh, no way. I just saw this. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio is expected to arrive for a visit to Israel on March 2nd to 3rd
There you go.
to discuss developments regarding Iran, Lebanon, and Gaza. Well, if this is true and if this is not a bluff and he's going to be here, there's not going to be an attack between March 2nd and 3rd. But maybe this is a bluff, so I don't know. That would be very interesting. If this goes through and if the visit actually happens, you can just then put your money on March 4th or after if you're going to get involved in the betting. All right, that's it. I'm going to end it. Thank you. Tony put in the chat. He put the video in the chat, so you can go watch that, and you can see a little bit of how Ramadan happens here. I wrote an article as well about how we always focus on, because sometimes it's the only news that's going on, but the potential tensions that are going to escalate during Ramadan, and then many times it doesn't happen. So just try to keep it, like when you see actually the number of people that are able to celebrate and to kind of live together and just like do their own thing. Like some people are going to the Western Wall and some people are going to Al-Aqsa, and tens of thousands are passing by each other, and tensions didn't escalate. So anyway, so what, Tony?
I put the link in, but I don't think it's working.
No, you put it. It went in Facebook. It didn't go in there. Anyway, that's it. So that I think that is about it for today. We're not packing a to-go bag. We haven't been ordered to evacuate, and only those who want to leave have been authorized to do so. So anyway, I don't know what you guys think and where you're putting your money. What's the date you put your money on? Thank you for joining, and of course, check back because we will be reporting as events warrant. Thank you very much. Have a good evening wherever you are.